Angry guy here, and women are openly admitting to their evil deeds and think that men will still want them regardless. Let's just go ahead and jump right into the video.
Stay at home wife and have him work, or you work full time and he stays at home?
It's just like hard because as a woman, you still have to come home and you're expected to look pretty. You're expected to do the dishes. You're expected to clean the house. You're expected to do the laundry. As a man, you just have to come home. You worked all day. But if I was a woman, like, yes, I worked all day, and what?
What else does he need to do as a man? Is his money yours and your money yours?
What's his is mine. What's mine is mine.
Why not?
Worked a day in her life. And that's just how she taught me. Like, as a man, you have to provide
Do you see this, guys? Do you see how evil that is? She literally said, what's his is mine and what's mine is mine. And I'm a Catholic and I'm Mexican and that's how I grew up and that's what my mom taught me. So she was taught this by her mother, that whatever belongs to the man, you take it. Whatever is his belongs to you. Whatever is his is yours, and whatever is yours is yours. So as a woman, you protect what's yours, and whatever belongs to him, you take that, because that also belongs to you. Guys, who does something like that? Who has that kind of guys, that is that's a bad mentality. You know, that's what underground syndicates do. That's what bad groups do. You know, that's what those guys that talk with the Italian accents and walk around to different shops to collect regular payments do. It's unbelievable. Guys, what they are doing today is basically legalized theft, where a woman knows now that whatever belongs to a man belongs to her. Whatever is a man's, whatever is his is hers, and whatever is hers is his. So she will always leave with more. She will always make sure that she has something for herself and then take half of his as well. It's a terrible, terrible thing. It's a terrible, terrible system that men have fallen into. It's why there's so much pain for men today in Western society, because women are allowed to do this. Not only are they allowed to do this, they are encouraged to do this. They are taught to do this by their mothers. And you see, guys, I make these videos, and you can see it with each and every passing video that these women know exactly what they're doing. And they're now comfortable talking about it. They're comfortable talking about their high body counts. Comfortable talking about promiscuity. Comfortable talking about only wanting a man for his money. They're comfortable talking about this. If a woman was only with a man for money, if she said these things, it was clear that she was only with him for his money. And a woman who only wanted a man for his money, that type of behavior was discarded. Today, that's what's being promoted. Oh, if he doesn't have the money, then don't be in a relationship with him. And then these women are the same women that'll turn around. They'll say that, he has to make at least $100,000 a year, over $100,000 a year, or $1 million a year. They'll say he has to make at least $1 million a year, but then these are the same women that will turn around and say that the women overseas only want him for his money. But wait a minute, you're the same woman that says that he has to be 6 feet, have 6 inches, and make 6 figures or more, make over 6 figures. So wait a minute, you're there saying you have all these requirements for him, and then a woman overseas, all she's looking for is a man who will provide for her, protect her, and be her only one. And in return, she loves to cook, she loves to clean, she will do and she's agreeable, she's fit, she's feminine, she's friendly. She's agreeable, she's submissive. It's just sad. It's just sad, and it's eye-opening. Absolutely eye-opening. You have to understand that roughly 80% of women don't find 95% of men attractive today. 95% of men are completely unattractive to women. 95% of men on the planet. And then you have to understand that a lot of those women, they don't even want that 5%. They're chasing the top 1%. And then from that top 1%, many are chasing the top 10% of that top 1%. And then many of those women, their expectations are so high that what they're looking for literally does not statistically exist. The kinds of men that they're looking for do not exist. You can plug them into a statistical calculator to, based on, how much, let's say, how many, let's say a woman wants a guy who's at 6 feet tall, he's Asian, he makes $1 million a year, and he has, all of these different attributes. and then they discover that this guy doesn't even exist. Like it's like how many men are like that in the United States? 0.0000000. Yeah, this guy doesn't exist. And the woman will see those statistics and she'll go, oh well, I don't care. I'm gonna look for him anyway. Or if he doesn't exist, then I'm okay being alone. I'll be happy alone because I'm not gonna settle for anything less. What Western women have now come to believe, and what they're trying to convey to men, is that there is no man on earth who can make them happy. God himself could not make them happy. Think about it very, very carefully. A lot of these women were married to very wealthy men, and these very wealthy men could not make them happy. Some of these men were handsome men. Handsome, tall, famous, and these men could not make them happy. These men gave them everything. Lives of absolute luxury. And how did they get repaid? Nothing. No matter how much you give to a woman, it'll never make her happy because the streets are always calling. The guys that women love are the guys that give them emotional highs as well as emotional lows. Those are toxic relationships. And now you have to think about that very carefully, because if that's what she's attracted to, then what does that really say about her unfortunately for a lot of guys, they've been stuck before they knew that they had options overseas and they could go overseas and find a woman who was fit, feminine, and friendly. Because most men started to believe that all the women in the world were like Western women. They were forced to basically either make up their minds and march into something that was going to end poorly for them, or say, you know what, I'm going to be alone forever. A lot of guys are doing that now. A lot of guys are not even doing the passport bro thing. A lot of guys are just saying, yeah, I'm done. I'm walking away from Western society. I'm not even going to go overseas. I'm just going to be alone. Or if I do go overseas, if I do the passport bro thing, I'm not going over there for a relationship. I'm going over there for my peace. I'm looking for my peace. I'm looking for my calm. I don't want the stress in Western society anymore. I just want my peace. And I'm going to go there and I'm going to find it. And that's why a lot of guys go overseas. Because they can't deal with Western society anymore. They can't have relationships in Western society anymore. And it's not just Western society. They don't want to risk it anymore. They don't want the stress anymore. Because they are so broken. They can't do it anymore. Or they don't even consider themselves broken. They're just like, yeah, not going to do it. Not going to do it. They will tell you that they love women, but they're just not going to have relationships anymore because they've had enough. And they just want their peace. And they'll go overseas and they will spend the rest of their lives just chilling. They'll do remote work. They'll survive. They'll live within their means. Away. Let me tell you something right now. This thing that a lot of guys are doing, because there are some guys who are, they're grinding. They're grinding as hard as they can. They're grinding hard, but they're only grinding hard enough to survive. They're not grinding so hard that, they're going to start making $100,000 a year. That's not their dream. They're grinding enough to survive so that they can survive for the rest of their lives. They leave the United States. They leave the UK. They leave Western countries. They go over to these countries like the Philippines, Thailand. They can live there for the rest of their lives comfortably on very little money, comfortably. They work remotely. They bring in an income, a small income. They bring in $10,000, $15,000 a year. Once they have a place to live, and they have their setup, they furnish it. They don't need anything else. Everything in that place is good. They are good. Everything in there is good. They don't have to worry about it anymore. So they live within their means and they live comfortably, and they're just chilling. And they're not trying anymore. And women don't realize this is the mouse utopia where a lot of guys are just walking away entirely, and they've become the beautiful ones, where they're sitting on the sidelines and they're opting out. They're doing just enough to survive, but not enough to help society to thrive. Because for society to thrive, you need men to keep on working hard and putting in more, and continually bringing in more wealth and creating more and more wealth. But because men are the ones who create wealth in society. But if men pull back, men are already not working. And if the ones who are working are only working just enough to survive, and they're surviving, and in their own way they're thriving, but they're not creating families, and they have no goal or prospects of starting a family, So they're basically like, well, I only need this amount of money to survive, and I'm living easily, I'm living comfortably, I have more than I need. Then you begin to witness the decline of Western society, and of course the advent of more taxes. And the more they tax men, the less men will work. So, for example, if they start saying something like, "Well, we're going to tax you if you make 100," because this is how they're going to do it. This is how they'll do it. They're going to tax people who earn higher, who have higher incomes. So, let's say you make $200,000 a year. They start taxing you at like practically 50%, 200,000. Now you're down to 100,000. You're gonna, what? And it starts to get worse. So, let's say you're making 100,000, but after they tax you, now you're down to 65,000. And imagine the amount of work that you have to put in to make that 65,000. What? To make that? Come on. So you're not actually making that. So, but then versus someone who makes, let's say, 50,000, but they're taxed at a much lower rate, and they do much less work, and the money goes much further because they're living overseas, and you're going to save lots of money. You're going to live within your means. You're going to save lots of money. You're going to say, forget about family, forget about children, forget about relationships. And of course, women believe that they hold up the entire sky, and men are just allowed to live under it. It's gonna basically fall down. The sky is gonna fall for them, and there's not going to be anyone who comes to the rescue. What do you guys think regarding all of this? I want to hear your thoughts on this. Women are openly admitting to their evil deeds and think men will still want them regardless. I want to know what you think in the comments. You know my thoughts, but I want to hear yours. So let's talk about it in the comments. Like the video if you like it. Don't forget to subscribe, and if you like the video, share the video. And just remember that all roads lead to MWA, men walking away and shit.